Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students of Communications and Public Relation Management course, today inshallah we will finish chapter number 5, which is titled by Management. So let's start from slide 45, which is talking about setting public relations objectives. An organization's goals must define what its public relations goals will be, and the only good goals are the ones that can be measured. So as a public relation department within the organization, you have to know what are of all objectives that should be selected. You should select the good goals. And what is the good goals? The good goals that it can be measured. And just to remind you that public relation objectives, it is stemmed or derived from the overall goal of the organization or from the organizational goal. So in order to select the good goals that it can be measured, you have to transfer the qualitative objective into quantitative objective in order to be measured. So if you cannot measure your objective, you cannot judge whether you achieve it or not. So you have to transfer the qualitative objective into quantitative in order to be measured. And as all of you know, that the objective should be SMART, means it should be specific, measurable, attainable, it can be reached, also it should be related to the overall goal of the organization, and it should be relevant, and it should be started and finished within a specific time. It should be timetabled. Okay. For example, if we wanted to change people's attitude, so we have to quantify it by measuring or calculating how many people already changed, how many money do we spend on campaigns, and how many campaigns did we publish, and so on. So again, you have to choose the good goals for this department that it can be measured, and if it is a qualitative objective, you have to transfer it into quantitative one in order to be measured. Public relations objectives and the strategies that flow from them must achieve results. Okay, so both objectives and the strategies, which represents the ways and the methods that we use in order to achieve our objectives, those objectives and strategies used in order to reach our results. So objectives and the strategies should be converted into results. So again, public relation objectives and the strategies. Strategies, it means the ways, the methods that we use in order to achieve our objectives that flow from them must achieve the results. Strategies are the most crucial decisions of a public relations campaign. They answer the following question. The first one, how will we manage our resource within the organization to achieve our goals? Okay, so strategies, as we said, it is the ways, the methods that we use in order to achieve our objectives, which is used in order to achieve our department or the public relation department goal. So this objective, those strategies should answer the question, how will we manage our resource, whether the financial resource, the human resource, the informational resource, physical resource, in order to achieve our goals. Okay, so you have to answer the question, how to convert the issue or the problem into strategy or strategies, ways and the methods used in order to achieve the objective or to solve the problem, and how to set our own strategy. To continue talking about setting public relations objectives, as the saying goes, what gets measured gets done. So if you wanted to achieve or implement something, try to measure it. So you have to test your objectives according to these questions. The first one, do they clearly describe the end result expected? For example, is it able to change people's minds, people attitudes, their behavior? Are they understandable to everyone? Those objectives is understandable for all members within the organization, the team member, for your audience, for your top level of management. Is it clear? Do they list a firm completion date? Is it timetabled or not? Are they realistic, attainable, and measurable? Is it realistic for your or to your ability or resources? Are you able to achieve it or not? Are they consistent with management's objectives or not? Is it consistent with the overall objective of the organization, or it is far away from it? So again, as we said before, that the objectives should be SMART. Management by objective, it means setting challenging objectives in order to be achieved, and management by results, it means that you are caring about the results, not focusing on the ways that used to achieve the objectives. It is again focusing on the results. So again, public relation professionals are managing by objectives and managing by results to help quantify the value of public relations in an organization. فهم بيستخدموا أسلوب management by objective and management by results in order to achieve their objectives. Okay. The two questions most frequently asked by general managers of public relations practitioners are: the first one, how can we measure public relations results, and how do we know whether the public relations program is making progress or not? So public relation results sometimes connected by sales volume, by the sales value or the sales volume, but this volume or the sales volume may come from other departments such as the salespeople or the marketers within the marketing department. So here we want to know exactly how to measure public relation results. Okay. Again, the questions most frequently asked by general manager of public relation practitioners: how can we measure public relations results? يعني مرة ثانية احنا بنحكي انه احنا نتائج اللي بنصل إليها في البابليك ريليشن في ديبارتمنت اللي هو معني بالمنظمة والبرودكت تبعتها والسيرفيسز تبعتها والبابليكس ان جنرال، ممكن أقيسها مثلا بالسيلز فوليوم أو بالسيلز فاليو، إلا أنه كمان السيلز فوليوم والفاليو ممكن تعتبر وسيلة يعني أو يمكن الوصول إلها من خلال other departments زي السيلز departments باستخدام اللي هم رجال البيع أو حتى الماركترز المسوقين اللي هو من خلال الماركتينج departments. So we wanted to know exactly how to measure public relations results. This is the first question. And how do we know whether the public relation program is making progress? So we should create our own tools, our own ways to understand if the program have an effect on publics, whether internal or external public, by different ways. Management by objective can provide public relations professionals with a powerful source of feedback. احنا حكينا انه المانجمنت باي اوبجكتيف it means setting challenging objectives. طبعا we set it by يعني with a cooperation between the top level of management with the subordinates within the organizations، وبعد هيك احنا بننتظر اللي هو تحقيق achieving those objectives. فطالما في عندي objectives و challenging objectives فبالتالي this is a powerful source of feedback whether we achieve it or not. Management by objective and management by results tie public relations results to management's predetermined objectives in terms of audiences, messages, and media. Even though procedures for implementing management by objective program differ, most programs share 4 points. Okay. احنا عادة في management by objectives we set and challenging objectives، ولكن البروجرام نفسه in order to achieve those objectives may be differ. المهم انه في النهاية الريزلتس او الاوبجكتيفز تتحقق. ايش الويز، ايش البروجرام اللي تم استخدامها ممكن تكون مختلفة. We can say that those programs share 4 points. the programs which is used in order to implement our objectives have a common points, or it is share 4 main points. The first one, specification of the organization's goals with objective measures of the organization's performance. So organizations should set their goals and identify objective measures. The second step, conferences between the superior and the subordinates to agree on achievable goals. As we said before, that both the managers or top level of management with their subordinates cooperate with each other in order to set the organizational goals. The key to using management by objective effectively in public relations work can be broken down into 7 critical steps. The first one, defining the nature and the mission of the work. You have to define what do you work, what is your business, or what is your mission statement. The second step, determining the key result area in terms of time or effort or as a personal. So your results should be translated into whether a time، تمام، الوقت اللي احنا هننهي فيه أو كم المدة اللي احنا أخدناها للانتهاء، أو activities or tasks or personal. Okay. The third step, identifying the measurable factors on which objectives can be set. The fourth one, setting objectives or determining results to be achieved. طبعا الجولز بعدها بتم وضع الobjectives اللي هي sub goals، وأيضا اللي هي results that we are or needed to be achieved. After that, preparing a tactical plan to achieve specific objectives. اللي احنا وضعنا الobjectives، حددنا ايش الريزلتس اللي عايزين نوصل إلها، يفترض هالجات يتم تحديد البلانز أو بنسميها tactical plans in order to achieve those objectives. After that, we have to establish rules and regulations to follow. نحط البوليسي تبعنا، ايش هي القواعد اللي هنمشي عليها in order to achieve it, and also establishing the procedures، تمام، to handle the work. procedures اللي هي الخطوات الإجرائية اللي هنقوم فيها بشكل مفصل أكتر in more details in order to achieve the objectives. Budgeting for public relations. First, you already set your objectives، حكينا عنها في السلايدات السابقة. We are setting our objectives for public relations department. We understand the type of campaign that we are going to launch for our audience, and now we have to know or estimate how much money we are going to spend on this campaign, and that's what we are talking about budgeting public relation. As with any other business activity, public relations program must be based on sound budgeting, and the key steps is the following. First of all, you have to estimate the resources needed to accomplish each public relations activities. Okay, so you have to distribute plans or your plan into activities or into actions, and then allocate those activities into financial resource. The second step, you have to estimate cost and availability of those resources, both in personal and purchases. Okay, you have to make sure that you have or your resources is available in order to achieve it. The third one, develop a budget and monthly cash flow plan. How much you are going to spend every week, every month, and so on. After identifying objectives, the public relations professionals must detail the particular tactics or tactical plan that will help to achieve those objectives. As we said before, we are setting our objectives، حددنا الريزلتس تبعتنا، بعد هيك يتم وضع اللي هو tactical plans in order to achieve those objectives. No organization can spend without a realistic budget, and no organization can success without it. لازم يكون في عندي realistic budget. Okay. Likewise, public relations activities must be disciplined by budgetary realities. continue talking about budgeting for public relations. In public relations agencies responsible for producing revenues, في عنا two type of budgeting. في عنا functional budgeting وفي عنا كمان administrative budgeting. Functional budgeting, it is the role that is dollars for staff, resources, activities, so on are linked to specific revenue generating activities. Employees are required to turn in time sheet detailing hours worked in behalf of specific clients. Okay, بالتالي احنا يجب على لو هذا الديبارتمنت او الموظفين داخل هذا الديبارتمنت يتم ضبط الانشطه الخاصه بالعلاقات العامه من خلال هذه الميزانيه. وهنا بقول لي employees are required to turn in time sheet detailing hours، يعني حتى بالساعه worked in behalf of a specific client حسب الكلاينت اللي احنا أو الأودينس اللي بنتعامل معه. This is a functional budget. Again, it is a role that is dollar for staff, resources, activities, and so on are linked to specific revenue generating activities. يعني الأنشطة اللي هي حتولد لي الأرباح. أما ال administrative budgeting in organizations where public relation is a staff activity and not responsible for revenue generating. Okay, this is the activity that are not responsible for generating revenue generating generation. Sorry, administrative budgeting is the role that is budget dollar are assigned generally against the department's allocation and for staff and expenses. أي أنشطة أخرى مش رح تكون يعني بشكل مباشر تلعب دور في generating اللي هو revenues بنسميها اللي هو أو بنصنفها ضمن اللي هي الموازنة الإدارية administrative budgeting. Again, it is a budget dollar that is assigned generally بنحطها بشكل عام against the department's allocation for staff and expenses. Okay, so that's all what we wanted to know about budgeting. We have two types of budget, the functional budget and the administrative budget. For slide 57, you can skip it. Now we wanted to talk about implementing public relations programs. The duties and responsibilities of public relations practitioners are as diverse as the publics with whom different institutions deal. Okay, so public relation practitioners have different duties, different functions, which is differ according to different publics that they are dealing with, whether they are internal or external publics. And each public has their own needs and wants. Specific public relations tasks are as varied as the organization served. Here is a partial list of public relations duties. Okay, those duties, of course, it is discussed, or all duties and responsibilities of public relation department is discussed in chapter 1. Just to read it again. What do public relation practitioners do? Media relations, social network, marketing, internal communications, government relations and public affairs, community relations, investor relations, consumer relations, public relations, research, public relations writing, special publics relations, institutional advertising, graphics, website management, philanthropy, special events management, counseling. Okay, so all of these activities for public relation practitioners is discussed before in chapter 1. You can revise it again. The public relations department. Public relations professionals generally work on in one of two organizational structure. Okay, so the structures of public relation departments, it may first as staff in a specific department within an organization, okay, or as an external agency outside the organization. So again, public relations professionals generally work in one of two organizational structure. The first structure as a staff in a public relation department of a corporation, university, hospital, or as a line professional in a public relations agency. يعني يا إما بيكون عندي public relation بيشتغل ك department مخصص داخل المنظمة له الاستاف الخاص به، أو إنه إحنا بنستعين ب يعني جهات خارجية اللي هي external agencies which is outside the organization. Departments range from one person operations to huge networks with hundreds of people. طبعا departments السايز طبعا بيختلف، ممكن يكون one person as the small companies، أو حتى إذا كنا بنحكي على external agencies فهو بيشتغل شخص واحد فيها، أو إنها تكون medium size، أو ممكن تكون في large organization بيكون في عندي huge networks with hundreds of people.